Patricia Heaton has been praised for a long time for her quick wit and likable roles. She became famous for her role as Deborah Barone on the hit show Everybody Loves Raymond. People really liked the play, but Heaton had to deal with some serious personal problems that she decided to keep secret. We learn more about her story and see how hard it was for her to make the figure that people loved. Patricia Heaton grew up in Bay Village in an artsy family, which revealed a side of her personality that had not been seen before. She was born in Ohio on March 4, 1958. While her father, Chuck Heaton, worked as a sports reporter, Patricia Heard took care of their daughter. From a young age, Heaton had a natural gift for performing. She developed her skills by taking part in school plays. After getting her bachelor's degree in acting from Ohio State University, Heaton moved to New York City to follow her dream of becoming an actress. Heaton got his start in New York on the stage. She helped start the acting group Stage 3 and learned from the great William Esper. All of these things helped her become well known in the off-Broadway world. Heaton struggled with the harsh realities of the acting business. She had a hard time getting steady work in TV and movies, even though she was becoming more famous in theater. Heaton's prize for her hard work was guest roles on hit TV shows like 30-something and Matlock. Things changed for the better for her when she tried out for the role of Deborah Barone on Everybody Loves Raymond. It was not at all an easy process to cast. CBS had other ideas for Deborah because they wanted someone fancier to play the part. Phil Rosenthal, who created the show, had a different view. He thought Heaton's easygoing charm would be perfect for the part. Even though CBS had doubts, Heaton got the part after a test that wowed Rosenthal. Heaton's performance as Deborah Barone became famous because of this choice, and the show was a big hit with critics, solidifying Heaton's place in the history of TV. Everybody Loves Raymond quickly became a hit in the United States when its first season aired in 1996. The show was mostly about Long Island sports writer Ray Barone, his wife Deborah, and their 3 children. One thing that made the sitcom stand out was how truly it showed family life by using real events as examples. The exchanges between Ray, Deborah, and Ray's controlling parents across the street were both funny and sad. Getting people to look. Phil Rosenthal, who created the show, got ideas for shows from things that happened in real life, like his own marriage and the writer's own life. An important part of the show's success was how real it was, which let viewers see themselves in the characters' family problems and quirks. Everyone talks about everything from arguments about who should do what around the house to the hard parts of being a parent. Raymond used humor to talk about important issues, which made it easy to understand and fun to read. The way Patricia Heaton played Deborah Barone was one of the things that made the show so famous. Deborah, who got angry easily but always loved, was the cool voice in the Barone family's chaos. Heaton brought a real, grounded quality to the role with a performance that was both funny and very moving. Because of how beautifully she played both warmth and anger, Deborah became a character that fans could relate to and rally behind. Everybody Loves Raymond became a classic in large part because of how well Heaton could time her jokes and how well she got along with Ray Romano. Patricia Heaton kept her personal problems out of the public eye while playing Deborah Barone on Everybody Loves Raymond with kindness and humor. For Heaton and the rest of the production team, the 9 seasons of the show were very hard because she was pregnant twice. Because of the plot of the show and Deborah's personality, these pregnancies couldn't be put into the script. Because of this, the makers had to think of creative ways to hide Heaton's growing baby bumps. The show cleverly hid Heaton's babies in a number of ways. The approach of using props worked very well. People who were there may have noticed that Deborah was often surrounded by a lot of big things when Heaton was pregnant. These things, whether Heaton is sat at a desk, You couldn't see her growing baby bump because she was behind a kitchen table or carrying a laundry basket. In addition to using props, Heaton would often wear loose clothes that covered up her changing body. The wardrobe area was very important for Deborah to always look her best on TV. She was very careful about what she wore so that her pregnancies wouldn't draw too much attention to herself during her shows. The movie focused on Heaton's face and upper body, and clever camera settings kept full body shots from happening. The watcher didn't know what was wrong with her off screen because of the clothes she wore. While she was pregnant, she kept acting perfectly, even though it was hard on her body. She handles the challenges of being pregnant with the same boundless energy and funny acts that made Deborah Barone a fan favorite. This shows how hard she works. Heaton's strong desire to keep her personal and work lives separate shows how much she admires actors. Even with everything going on, she was able to stay true to herself, which was really impressive, and she knew how important it was for the show. Not only did Heaton's unwavering dedication make Everybody Loves Raymond run smoothly, but it also cemented her place as one of the most reliable and talented actors in TV history. The complicated and multi-layered relationships shown in the movies were just the tip of the iceberg when it came to how the cast of Everybody Loves Raymond interacted with each other on set. Frank Barone, Peter Boyle, and Doris Roberts' Patricia Heaton, who is the head of the Barone family, and Marie Barone became very close. Whether they were on or off set, these relationships had a big impact on how popular the show was and how fans felt like they were part of a real family. Patricia Heaton and Peter Boyle had a great friendship because they respected each other, even though they have different political views. Boyle and Heaton often had differences because Boyle was more liberal and Heaton was more conservative. The actors' professionalism shone through in their talks, which kept them from getting angry over their differences. People would often listen to what Boyle and Heaton had to say, but they would always do it in a friendly and polite way. They were able to keep the set together and their chemistry on screen by not bringing their political differences to work. Because Heaton and Boyle's figures were so close to each other, this respectful relationship was very important. A lot of the funny parts of the show were about Deborah and Frank's relationship as the Barone family's daughter-in-law and father-in-law. The family fights were believable and fun to watch because Heaton was good at playing off of Boyle's tough, no-nonsense attitude. The respect they had for each other off-screen made for a believable and often funny relationship on screen, adding to the appeal of the show. The link between Heaton and Doris Roberts was just as important. Not only did Roberts play Heaton's mother-in-law on screen, she was also her friend and teacher as the strict but loving Marie. There was something important that linked them that went beyond their time on the show. Heaton looked up to Roberts because she was a seasoned actor with decades of experience who could always be called on for help and advice. The roles they played together showed how they were connected. Heaton and Roberts' natural chemistry made their performances more interesting. The friendship between Heaton, Boyle, and Roberts had a big effect on the mood of Everybody Loves Raymond. The real love and respect they had for each other made their on-screen interactions even more interesting. The relationships between the characters were based on their real-life relationships, like Deborah's irritation at Marie's meddling and Frank's stubbornness. The closeness that came from these connections spread through the whole group, making them feel more like family than just co-workers. The actors' chemistry was one of the best things about Everybody Loves Raymond. It made it possible for the show to explore the complicated issues of family life in both funny and sad ways. Patricia Heaton's relationships with her co-stars were a big part of the show's tone and helped make it one of the most beloved comedies on TV. Mostly Peter Boyle and Doris Roberts. Having a successful TV job and taking care of your family at the same time is hard to do. It was always hard for Patricia Heaton when she was on the TV show Everybody Loves Raymond. Heaton raised 4 kids and dealt with all of the problems that come with being a mom head-on. While working on a well-known TV show, she subtly changed how she played Deborah Barone, a character who often faced similar problems, which shows how determined she is. Heatherin was a stay-at-home mom and an active part of the cast and crew on set at the same time during the show's run. Heaton's days were long and stressful because he had to do these 2 things. The first thing she did in the morning was get her kids ready for school. At night, she would practice lines or shoot, a sign of Heaton's dedication and hard work. She got past problems to stay a strong person in both her personal and business lives. Heaton used a lot of her own experiences as a mother to write about Deborah Barone. She was a mother like Heaton, balancing her own wants with those of her children. Heaton's acting as Deborah made her seem real, which made people connect with her, especially mothers who could relate to her problems. Deborah is one of the most likable TV characters because Heaton showed how tired she really was. She is annoyed and loves her family very much. It wasn't all easy for Heaton while she was on Everybody Loves Raymond, though. Jennifer Lee, who used to work for her, sued her for unpaid pay in 2009, which put her in a tough legal spot. According to Lee, Heaton broke the law in California by making her work extra hours without paying her. The case brought Heaton unwanted attention, which was very different from how innocent she seemed on screen. Even if everything works out in the end, even a happy and successful life can still have problems. Even though the court case was stressful, Heaton stayed committed to her work. She didn't let her problems affect her work. Instead, she kept giving great performances on Everybody Loves Raymond. A sign of how professional Heaton is that she can keep her personal life separate from her work life, which made her coworkers and fans love her even more. Deborah Barone was slightly affected by Heaton's real-life friends and events. Because she was close to her own family, she knew how to handle Deborah's interactions with Ray and their kids. The sincere kindness and care that Heaton showed in her role as Deborah were not only believable, but they also showed what she truly believes. Heaton kept her personal life in check while she was on Everybody Loves Raymond. She did it with poise and determination. She gave Deborah Barone a lot of depth by drawing on her own experiences as a mother and wife. This made her one of the most likable and sympathetic TV characters. Even though she faced problems in her personal life and in public, Heaton stayed dedicated to her job and her family, which made her a true professional and a real talent in the entertainment industry. As the last season of Everybody Loves Raymond came to a close in 2005, the cast and team knew they were ending an important part of television history. Phil Rosenthal, who created the show, was worried that it would lose quality if it was picked up for a 10th season. After 9 great seasons, he thought it was time to say goodbye. This decision ended a time in Patricia Heaton's and her co-stars' lives and careers that had a big effect on them. Everyone in the group. The emotional effect of the show's finale was felt by many, especially Heaton. Heaton had become close with her co-stars during her almost 10-year part as Deborah Barone, and the thought of leaving them was scary. It was really hard for her with the last recording. Heaton had a reputation for being very professional, but she had trouble keeping her feelings in check. For such a seasoned actor, she rarely lost her voice, but she did so at the last practice. Heaton cared so much about the show that the producers had to delay the last taping for a week so she could get better. Leaving behind a character Heaton loved wasn't the only thing that made her dislike the end of the show. Another theme was leaving behind what felt like a second family. The close-knit cast and team had shared many moments on and off the set. During the last curtain call, people said goodbye to their ties and the parts they played. After thinking about it, Heaton said that the final tape was one of the most difficult things that had ever happened to her. Even after the sad ending of Everybody, Heaton continued to do well in the music business. Her big break came on the ABC comedy The Middle, but she didn't waste any time finding more chances to shine. On the first episode of The Middle in 2009, Heaton played Frankie Heck, a mother of three from the Midwest who is loving but stressed out. The show ran for 9 seasons, just like Everybody Loves Raymond,